Hi all, good morning. Welcome to Big Classes. My name is Hemant. I have trained people on manual and automation testing, and which includes the defect and reporting tools like Bugzilla, Jira, and Quality Center, etc. Currently working with Cognizant Technology Solutions since 2011. And I have trained approximately 40 batches across different clients. I have 7 years of total experience, and that into training the people and supporting them on their projects, and also giving the assistance for the interview and the resume preparation that I have made earlier for few clients. Let me browse through the content exactly what it is when it comes to testing. So testing, people say it is a very easy job, or it looks like a very lightweight responsibility for the outside people who are looking at. But when it comes to the implementation, I would say it comes to practice, it is a very high responsible job. The reason is nowadays, whatever the product that you are taking, whatever the applications that we are using in day-to-day life, everything, their customer prospect, they are looking for a quality. So quality is something like conformance to the requirements, and to become as a competitor, we should also focus on quality, which is very, very important. So in between, if you have any queries, please ask me in between. You could also disturb in between while speaking. No issues. There we can discuss your. You have right to ask the questions. Please ask me in between if you have any queries. Okay.
Sure.
So let me start with the manual testing. Is the initial basic testing, irrespective of any automation testing tools that we use. The basic level of testing that we are supposed to perform, that is manual testing. I would say it is a basement for a building. So the basement is manual testing. First floor, automation testing like QTP. Second floor, performance testing. Third floor, likewise we have number of floors. But whichever level of testing that we are performing, it is necessary to perform manual testing before following any automation testing or before proceeding with automation testing. Okay. So manual testing, the course of content. So fundamentals of software testing is the initial module that we have as a course of content. As I told you, software quality that we should discuss, and to in a short form, software quality means conformance to the requirements. That means how well that we are satisfying the requirements of client. That is very, very important. Apart from that, we have various attributes that has to be focused. Like in the diagram, if you see, it is showing the software quality factors. So which mention as functionality, usability, maintainability, efficiency, portability, reliability. So more about this we will learn in further classes, but I just would like to tell you what are the various factors that we have. That various factors we also call it as quality attributes. We have 6. And later we have PDCA cycle, that is plan, do, check, act. So it is something like this PDCA cycle will be definitely would be an example for this in chemical laboratories, people who are developing in drug solutions or prepare manufacturing of medicines. Those there what possibly you would also remember at the time of you are studying some intermediate or +1 +2, we would do some kind of chemical labs. So we generally put some kind of chemicals and we dilute it. If in case if it is not sufficient, we'll add some more liquids or some more chemicals to get a better result. So PDCA cycle is a continuous improvement. There is no end of it to have a better improvement of a product. Until and unless, for example, we have worked with something, if doesn't suit it, we will again do plan, do check, act continuously to get the better improvement and to get the better product. And it is also necessary to understand the need and importance of quality, why it is required, and what is the importance of this quality to be maintained. And later we have SDLC, that is software development lifecycle. In order to deliver a product, what are the phases that are includes in software development lifecycle? For example, we gather the requirement from the clients and we analyze the requirements, and the design people will prepare the design documents, and after once the design is done, the programmer will program the modules by using any kind of technology like .NET or Java, whatever it is. And once the development is done, here the testing has to be started. This testing can be performed by using manual testing or any automation tools. And once the testing is done, it will be good for release and maintenance, where it will be released to the live environment for the end user usage. And it is also necessary to understand what is software testing in a simple definition. To identify the hidden defects in an application. Simple. We identify the defects in an application. What is meant by defect? Which is not accepting or which is not satisfying the client requirements. We call it as defect. Simple. For example, a very good example, a basic example. Generally, you take a Gmail application. Mostly I will take a very day-to-day life examples. The reason is we generally use those applications in day-to-day life, and also we know the functionality of those applications which we are using it. It won't be a tough task to understand. That is the reason I would generally take the examples as Gmail, Facebook, WhatsApp, and some kind of banking applications, in case if people have an idea about the functionality of banking application. So what is defect means, we provide something like, if I enter something like username as valid, password as valid, when I click on login, as per the requirement, it is necessary to navigate to the next page. But if it is not navigating, we simply call it as defect. But this has to be done at the front end. Front end means, I would say, on GUI of the application, which we see a completely a real page or a website at the front end with the look and feel and everything, right? And similarly, the way we have development lifecycle, we have testing lifecycle as well, and that has a different phases. And once we define the defect, or once we identify the defect, how it should be navigated, how it should be reported to the development team. We don't fix the defect. As a tester, we don't require any programming knowledge for manual testers, because we have to check at the front end the functionalities, whether is it satisfying the client requirements or not. And however, you are a proficient developer like in a technologies like Java or .NET, still we are not supposed to fix the defect or not authorized to fix the defect. It is always need to be reported to the development team, and it has to be fixed by them, right? And we have two terms like verification and validation. Verification means we prepare some documents and we perform as a document it is perfect or not, and to have a complete check. Like we find some mistakes in a document, that is verification. Validation is nothing but testing only, where we identify the defects. As I told you, we have some types of review, like formal review and informal review. Formal review means we prepared some document, like any requirement documents that we prepared, that has to be reviewed. And formal review means that document has to be reviewed and document all the mistakes in a separate document. We call it as a review. That is formal review. Informal review means without intimation, without any schedule, without any documentation. Any comments are identified by the reviewer, or mistakes identified by the reviewer, will be reported to the author himself to fix the defects. Okay. And that is all about the fundamentals of software testing, which slide that we have. And we have principles of testing. We have 7 principles of testing which has to be satisfied, and it is necessary to know as well, and it is a very important concept, and it is a most frequent interview question most of the times. And the most important questions for the previous slide is one is SDLC and STLC and defect life cycle, and the various quality attributes also. It's very important. And it is also necessary to understand the various differences between fault, mistake, error, defect, bug, failure, and the variations of name terminology. For example, we do also have some different names. Different name means, for example, my name is Hemant. Friends calls me as with the Hemant full name, like Hemant Bhimanathan. Close friends will call me as a short name, or in home they might call me as a with my nickname. So similarly, we have defect, but calling that defect in a different phases as name it as different naming terminologies, and finally they are targeting as a defect. So whichever it is not satisfying the client requirements, we call it as fault, mistake, error, defect, or bug, or failure. Okay, and more about this we would learn in the further classes, and we'll give you the variations and the differences between the each term and each terminology of these names. Okay, and classification of defects and types of defects. So classification of defects majorly classified as 2 types, that is severity and priority. What is mean by severity? That is seriousness of the defect. That means we identify some defect, for example. So seriousness of the defect is severity, and we have priority, that is time schedule, like how soon the defect should be rectified by the development team. Okay. Now here, for example, as I told you earlier, if you remember a defect, after clicked on login, there is no response. But generally, as per the requirement, it is necessary to navigate to the next page, but it is not navigating. That kind of situation or that kind of error we can consider as a defect. So that defect has to be given as high severity and as well as high priority, because the user is getting impacted. Correct? So that is one, the severity and priority. Why we are giving the severity and priority? The only one reason, we would identify n number of defects, but that doesn't mean it should be rectified as soon as possible or as much as earlier in testing. There are some defects which might have a low priority and low severity also, will be concentrated later, and those can be fixed by the development team. Okay. And we have various development models depending on the size of the project and nature and scope of the project. So various development models like waterfall model, iterative model, V model, prototype model, and we have nowadays the most famous model is the agile model. It's like a quick model. For example, there are every project is not same, and I would say project is unique. For example, we have some small scale projects or minor projects or major projects. So that selecting a model is always depends on the type and size and nature of the projects, and accordingly we'll select the models of development of a product. So agile is something like a Tatkal model. Why I am calling as a Tatkal model? The reason I will tell you. Apart from agile model, if you take any other model, we'll be having a timeline. Okay, and we'll be having a timeline like 2 years or 3 years. In the span of that 3 years, the project has to be delivered to the client. But agile model is like a quick model. Like means for early releases, we can choose agile model, and it is very costly, and any changes that can be done very smoother, and where we require the client interaction is very frequent. So we have different models that we have. And next we have is levels of testing is one important concept that we have. We will perform our levels of testing as, and that is categorized as 5 levels. One is unit testing, only concentrated for a single module. And the next one is component integration testing, connecting two modules and checking the integration between that modules. We call it as component integration testing. And we have system testing, that we can check the functionality and non-functionality requirements. And system integration testing is something like how our system is integrated with the other third-party applications. For example, would like to buy a product through Flipkart or eBay, whatever it is. You want to buy a mobile, right? So in order to purchase that mobile, you are testing an application called Flipkart, but you are checking the functionality is placing an order, or you are purchasing a product. That is, you are going to test a functionality. Now, to check this functionality and to ensure the purchasing order is being successful or not, it should navigate through a banking website. So involvement of that banking website, we call it as system integration testing. That means our system, how it is integrated with the third party applications. For other example, once you book the ticket, you will receive an SMS to your mobile number. That is also SIT, we call it as. That is system integration testing. So likewise, there are many examples that we have where we will discuss much on this later. And user acceptance testing before release the application. The client will also perform one type of testing that we call it as user acceptance testing. Until unless if user acceptance testing doesn't meet the requirements, we are not supposed to release the application to the live environment. Okay.
Can you please give me an example for the component integration testing?
Component integration testing, which would be performed by the white box testing team. Actually, we have two types of methods. Okay. One is white box and the black box. White box means with having programming knowledge, and the black box means without having any programming knowledge. So this unit testing and component integration testing can be done by the development team, nothing but a white box testing team. Okay. And component integration testing will be done at the back end, the interaction between the modules. For example, after clicking on login, it will navigate to the inbox page in Gmail, correct?
Correct.
So login is one module and inbox is one module. So we should have some integration or interface between to connect these two modules.
Okay.
So testing the individual modules, that is unit testing. I have to check login module as separately, and even I have to check inbox module separately. But there is an interlink between these two modules that has to be checked in component integration testing. The interface.
Okay.
Okay. So am I clear your doubt? Is there anything you want some more example on this?
No, I just want you are referring for a module. So what is a module in simple terms?
Simple terms, it's a one functionality.
Okay. So login is one module, inbox is one module, and then
logout is one module, delete is one module, outbox is one module. So like different modules that we have.
Okay. So the different things a user can do with the Gmail.
Yeah, correct,
okay.
correct.
Okay.
So front end, whatever he is doing, that front end actions only we are checking. That will completely come under manual testing.
Okay, the front end means what the user is going to do it, right?
Yes, yeah, because as a tester we should think from user perspective. That is only I would like to tell you, we have some roles and responsibilities, and however we are indirectly working for client.
Correct.
You will join in a company where you would get the salary from that so and so X company, but still indirectly you are working for client, where you should think from the client perspective.
Okay.
And testing is a very responsible job, as I mentioned earlier, because based on our trust, based on our reliability, the application is going on live. If the defect or if the application gets failure in the live environment, it would be badly impacted to the testers and we would be questioning by the client. not the development team.
Okay.
Because after the development, we are going to test.
Correct.
Okay. So shall we proceed further?
Yes.
Okay. So system integration testing is something like you have booked the ticket and you have received the SMS to your mobile number, or once you swipe something or you withdraw some amount from ATM, and that notification will be sent to your email ID or your phone mobile number which is registered with the bank. That we call it as SIT, that is system integration testing. So one software to the another third party software or any other software, any other hardware devices, that interaction we call it as system integration testing, which can be done at the front end. But moreover, you will understand these concepts when we go in depth, and when we know about the detailed description of these things. Okay. And testing types broadly classified as two types actually. One is functional testing and a non-functional testing. And we use different automation tools for each type of testing that we have it. So in the market, we would be having n number of testing types, but it doesn't mean we would use all those types of testing. Only few testing that we will focus on, and out of that which are very famous and which are very reliable and accurate, those tools can be used. Some automation tools like for functionality testing, we have QTP, that is Quick Test Professional, and that name has been renamed recently as UFT, that is Unified Functional Testing Tool. UFT, Unified Functional Testing Tool. Apart from that, we have Selenium, and it is an open source tool, and we have SOAP, and we have IBM Rational Robot, like a lot of tools that we have. And in further classes, we also I will also explain about the various testing types and the usage of it, and how testing can be used to test the functionality, and the different tools can be used for each type of testing. Okay. And we have a few more topics as the difference between manual and automation. As I told you, some automation tools, and what is the difference between in manual testing, we write the test cases. In automation testing, we write the test scripts. Test scripts means mostly we use VB script for QTP and JavaScript for Selenium. Likewise, we use different kind of scripts and the programming languages. And we would also come to know about the fresh and develop maintenance testing. And there are two important themes like quality assurance and quality control. Quality assurance is moreover defect prevention, and quality control is defect detection or correction that will comes to testing. So quality assurance is oriented to development life cycle, and quality control is oriented to testing, that is testing life cycle. Okay. And
So
the
is
next one we have, yeah, please.
So is it necessary, like, to learn Selenium, you must be aware of Java? Is it like really necessary?
Yeah. Basics of Java is definitely, it's a added advantage, and it's necessary to be there.
Okay.
Okay. And even for VB script, for QTP, if VB script you really would like to use that VB script, we would also require some C concepts is fine.
Oh, okay. So what about Ruby and Cucumber?
Ruby and Cucumber, the usage is very less actually, because it won't be suitable for major projects. The current market which is available for this nowadays, the upcoming projects, mostly the consumer domain, if you take the online shopping portals and some healthcare and banking websites, if you take, most of them they are using 60 to 70% is QTP, and for 30 to 40% is Selenium.
Okay.
And it is a maximum 10% of chances they go for Cucumber and SOAP, IBM Rational Robot. The only thing is compatibility issues, nothing else. Compatibility means some projects would not be compatible with those tools. So for that reason, they are not using it.
Okay.
Okay. And we have knowledge transition and requirement analysis. This is also one kind of module. So knowledge transition is something like transferring the knowledge from client to offshore, on-site to offshore, or within the project team. We have lots of KT stands for knowledge transition, and we have a lot of topics on this, and we will discuss in further classes. And we have very important two documents at the initial starting of the project, that is BRS and FRS. BRS is business requirement specification and FRS is functional requirement specification, and we will also come to know how to analyze these requirements and how these requirements will be changed further for future versions of the application or future enhancements, and how to prioritize the requirements. And everything will be discussed briefly in future classes. And the next one we have is test strategizing and planning. Test strategizing is something like it is an approach to be followed for a testing project. As we earlier slides, if you see, we have discussed some levels of testing, and we have discussed some various tools, and we have discussed some types of testing. But it doesn't mean that we will follow everything for implement for a project. For example, you go to a shop, a mobile shop. It doesn't mean you will buy everything. You'll just see as per your budget, as per your choice, as per your intention to buy one kind of brand. You will select that particularly, and you will buy that particular product. But in projects, what we do is it doesn't mean to follow everything, whichever it is suitable. For example, SIT, if you take as a level of testing, ST can be done for everything, because within the interactions of an applications that we can check. SIT, as I mentioned, when it has a third party integration. So it doesn't mean every application would have third party. There are some applications which doesn't have any third party integrations. For that we don't use SIT. And similarly, some types of testing also we will select based on the application nature and scope of the project. So that is test strategy. So once the strategy is done, then it is also necessary to plan. And test strategy is also one kind of document, and it is an initial document in testing, and will be prepared by test manager and will be prepared in MS Word format. And test plan is another document which will be prepared in MS Word, and test plan is plan. Whenever we see as a plan, it is definitely focused on schedule. So we have defined some approach, and it is necessary to know, we know what to perform, and it is necessary to know when to perform, how to perform, and who will perform, and what are the various responsibilities for each and every person who are involved in the project. Correct? So it is also, we will give you a necessary practical implementation, how to prepare the test strategy and test plan by taking a sample project, and we will do that. And test design process, it is a very important module in testing, and here we also see how to write the scenarios, because generally we don't write directly test cases. Before that we take some scenarios, and for each scenario we'll write some different combination of test cases, and also we need to prioritize the test cases, and that is the cycle actually, and will be brief on this. But these test cases has to be written by the tester if it is a manual testing, or if it is a automation testing, they write the test script. Either it could be a VB script or a JavaScript. So where do we write these test cases or scenarios? These scenarios and test cases will be written in Excel document.
Okay.
Yes.
MS Excel, how does it really link to, because that has a complete different functionality, right?
See, actually, test cases is something like a statement that we are writing, and that should be applied on an application. Okay. So this is only the process. I'm not talking about the functionality. So scenario is something like, for example, login is a scenario. Okay. We'll take it as a login is a scenario. Now, what is meant by test case? There are two types of test cases. One is positive and one is negative. So positive test case means when I give my input values as valid, that is my positive test case. Or if I give something like as invalid, that is my negative test case. So that I will mostly write it in Excel document. So when we start writing it, you definitely will understand, and it is very simple and not that much complex.
Okay.
And we'll be having some columns actually. That is the reason you are able to see the screen, right? The PPT which I am currently dealing with.
Yes. Yes.
If you see the first point, test scenario and its components, in brackets I have mentioned as template.
Template.
Yeah. Template is something like every organization do have their own template. That means Excel which has the column names.
Okay.
So the column names will be present and we need to fill only by writing the test cases in the cell content. That's it.
Okay.
So how to write the different test cases and what are the various techniques that we should use will be come to know in this particular module. We call it as test design process. Once we write the test cases, we have to perform as test execution. So we have written the test cases. Now we have to execute the test cases on the application. If it is working as per the client requirements, the test case is passed. If it is something like not working as client expectations, then the test case is failed. The failed test case can be considered as defect. Okay. And this defect also will be mentioned in Excel only, because as it is manual, most of the work is by manual only. We'll be writing the test cases manually, we'll be executing the test cases manually, we'll be report the defects as I mentioned, like defect log, that is also in Excel only, that is also manually. Okay. So majority of work will be done by manually, that's why it's became the name called manual testing. Okay. And the difference of automation testing here in simple terms, the differences, we write the test cases in manual testing, we write the test script in automation testing, but here we will only execute the test cases, but the script will be executed by the tool. So human being doesn't require for execution.
Okay.
Okay. And manual testing, it is a kind of a bit process, okay, going on. And automation testing is something like quicker, because the tool is executing in fraction of minutes, it will execute.
Correct.
It is very faster and reliable.
Okay.
And very accurate also, because a human being could make a mistake, but a tool cannot. And majority of them, they might say that, okay, testers always do perfectly. But I don't believe on that word. The reason is, maximum we'll try for best, but we would also miss some kind of things, because we are also human beings.
Yes.
So that is the reason they are not completely rely on manual testing. That is the reason they go for automation testing also, to have a better confidence to the application.
Okay.
Getting it, Swati?
Okay. Yeah, can you please show an example, like how a test case looks like manual?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure.
Like just to have an idea, like how it looks.
Yeah. Correct. But however, I have one that is for. I have sample template if you want, but I have not. I have written one. So this is one kind of template. Okay. This is scenario template, having application name, module name, version number, author name, prepared date, reviewed by, reviewed date. So author name means the person who is writing these scenarios. Okay.
Okay.
So for which module he is writing the scenario, and we give some naming convention ID to better identification of that scenario, and the scenario name and the description and so on for scenario document. Because if I show how it can be written, you won't be understanding, because the previous concepts also you should understand, right? So for that reason. But this is one template which generally used for Cognizant, but this could be vary from company to company and project to project. Okay. And this can be customized also. This is something like we can use it as a standard one, but however we cannot say this would be the permanent one to be used for other projects or other organizations. It would be vary, depends on the client requirements. And this is defect log, like defect ID, defect description. I told you, right? Priority and severity, you remember?
Severity, yes.
Yeah, that is all about. Here it mentioned, right? Okay. So
Okay.
these are all the various steps that we will discuss in further classes.
Sure.
Okay. And shall we move on to the next concept?
Sure.
So
Thank you.
execution, and once we log the results as pass or fail, the failed test case seems to be a defect, and that defect to be sent to the development team. And once the development team fix that defect, we need to perform is retesting and regression testing. So retesting is after rectification of the defect by the development team, we have to re-execute that particular test case to check whether the same defect is reoccurring or not. Okay. And
Gotcha.
regression testing means with that defect, once they fix the defect, earlier there are some test cases which are passed. Okay.
Yes.
So by rectifying that defect would be impact on other past functionalities.
Yes.
Very good example I would like to give you here. You know brinjal, right? The vegetable brinjal.
Yes.
I have a bucket of brinjals. Out of that, I have to check each brinjal whether it is good or not.
Mm-hmm.
So out of that 100 brinjals, I have 2 brinjals which are spoiled.
Again,
So-
you will be checking whether there are some more in the bucket.
Yeah, that is regression testing.
Yeah, got it.
Got it? So because one spoiled brinjal would also spoil other brinjals, right? So
Yeah.
that we are just for better confidence, we are checking it. That is what. Exactly. Very good. Thank you. And the next one is a test closure process. That is what we summarize all the activities so far that we have done right from starting for testing life cycle, which we have prepared. That will be summarize the activities, what went well and what went wrong. Actually, there would be chances we plan something, might be deviation from the plans that might occur, right?
Yes.
For example, my plan that for example, a very good example, I thought of to complete this call in 45 minutes.
Yeah, but it got deviated to 1 hour.
Yeah, that is something like test summary report. So
Okay.
there was a plan and there are some kind of activities which are mentioned, and there could be chances that got deviated, and what are the reasons that are deviated.
Yeah.
That we will monitor and we will mention here. Why we are mentioning this thing? The only reason is to not to repeat these kind of issues for further or future projects. We could avoid, right? Next time.
Correct.
Yeah, this could
Correct.
be the issue. Something like that is test closure process we prepare. That is test summary report. And the way test closure is for only testing life cycle. For each and every release to the live environment, we prepare the test summary report. That is test closure. Project closure will be done only once. Test
Oh.
closure for each and every versions of release that we are releasing to the live environment, we prepare test closure. But project closure will be done only once. That is, the project timeline has been finished. There are no more work or modifications, or the project is going from one organization to other organization. That time we will prepare project closure.
So, for example, if you are dealing with the suppose state bank project, like online deposits is one project. So,
Okay.
if at all the project is being like it's closed, or if the state bank is closed, then that is project closure. And
Okay. And
otherwise,
each enhancement, yeah, they are doing each and every release. That is test closure. That means the project is continuing.
yeah, but the only thing is like, okay, now they have developed for internal bank transfer. That is one test.
One new feature that they have included.
Yeah, that test is done, then that is a test closure.
Very good. And there are no more additions, and the project is going to be completely shutting down. That is project closure.
Okay, good, thank you.
And hereby the last slide that we have for manual testing is implementing a project by using manual testing, by performing the complete testing life cycle. And that project, either it could be, I could promise, or either on banking or any other domain which could be suitable for your convenience, we can do it. So the complete life cycle of a project by preparing the various deliverables like strategy, plan, scenario, test cases, test logs, defect log. So various documents can be prepared with the complete testing life cycle. Could be a project on any kind of domain.
Okay.
So any queries on manual testing?
No.
Okay, that is a complete overview. And next we have is QTP, that is automation testing. Okay, automation testing, we, as I told you, we have various tools that we can use for automation testing, like QTP and Selenium. And QTP and the recent name that they have changed as UFT, that is Unified Functional Testing Tool. So we would also come to know what are the general information of automation testing and the benefits and what is the purpose. And automation tool types also, what are the various testing tools that we have, and the QTP introduction, and what are the various add-in managers that we have with QTP. Like it should support the various operating environments. Otherwise, we cannot able to automate that particular application by using QTP. For example, that application should be run on so and so platform like Java, .NET, or which connected to a database like Oracle or MySQL. We should have a specific add-ins so that we could easily run, or smoothly we can run the application by using QTP to automate. And we have different components in QTP window or QTP editor, and we have one important concept called record and playback. Like we also record one kind of session and we can play back that kind of session, and we can analyze the test results from there. And we have some basic VB script concepts as well. And moreover, these are the big words for you at this point of time. In case if I tell also, by help of tool only I can show it. And as I told you, QTP is licensed, where however we can have a free trial version which is for 14 to 15 days, that is available in the net, and we can download that and we can do it. So this is a complete and an automation testing project also. However, we do some kind of testing with QTP, that manual testing with the same project. We write some script and we also implement in QTP. Swati, do you have any question?
If at all you are doing, like if I'm going to learn QTP, so will you, if you are going to be the trainer, will you be giving me the QTP interface so that I can work on it, or like how does it really go?
See, I will guide you the installation procedure, and that is very easy to install, and even I will show you how to install also. That's not an issue.
Okay.
Okay, I will show, yeah.
Like how you told, if it is like QTP, it should we should have the .NET also installed in our system. So is it like you will be helping us to do everything like .NET and QTP, both the things?
See, actually, as I told you, .NET, Java, these are all add-ins actually. How to add these, because default add-ins will be there in QTP. Okay. Extra add-ins that we would like to add, that I will tell you and I will show you how to do it. That is the reason the slide talks about here.
Okay.
If you take the second one, yeah, see, add-ins part here. Add-in manager and QTP supported technologies. Okay. So that I will support, that's not an issue. So I will help you to install the software, and I will help you to, I would give you some assignments to perform it. And actually, when it comes to tool, the everyday spontaneous practice should be there actually.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to know.
Yeah. No issues. Definitely, you will get definitely that practice, and you would definitely realize after this training, yeah, it is helpful. Okay.
Yeah, it's not like you will be saying something and we'll be just hearing and we are not doing anything. Later at the end of the time.
See, Even the navigations and everything will be made on PPT actually. Even the PPT will guide you. Not only verbal communication we are talking about. Even the PPT contains complete step-by-step process to perform any kind of topic or concept to understand. And that is very easy. With the screenshot, with the help of screenshots.
Okay.
Okay. So I would say it like as a user manual for you. So however, in case if you are missed out in verbal communication, I would show it in practical. Still, if you are missing out, we have a backend document called a PPT, which is a content which has the screenshot along with that.
Okay.
Okay. So this is completely automation testing, and the benefits we will discuss, and what are the various constraints that are required to perform or to execute our scripts, that will be mentioned here. Okay. And we have another thing is quality center. You heard about anywhere quality center earlier?
No.
Okay. So quality center is something like a defect management tool. Not only defect management, it is like a test management tool also, we can call it as requirement management tool also, we call it as. Simple, I will say that, one word. We get the requirements from whom? Any idea?
Client.
Yeah, very good. So the client will give the requirements to the organization. A BA kind like a business analyst would gather the requirement from the client, will be documented in MS Word, like BRS or FRS. Correct?
Correct.
Those documents I have already mentioned earlier. Now, what happens here, instead of adding that requirements, we can add directly in quality center. Instead of the requirements adding in MS Word, we can directly add that requirements in quality center, and it is also owned by HP. So QTP is also owned by HP and quality center is also owned by HP. It is just acts as a centralized stored repository.
Okay, just like a database.
So, very good. So whenever we want, we can see it. Whenever we want, it's kind of managing the activities, project activities. And I would say it's a one-shop tool for testing. It's a one-shop tool for testing where we could add the requirements. See, first tab is requirements, where we can add all the requirements related to it. Okay?
All the project requirements.
Yeah, all the project requirements. And the next one is test plan. So where do we write the test cases? In Excel.
Excel. MS Excel.
Instead of writing in Excel, we can directly write in Quality Center under Test Plan tab.
Okay.
That is one benefit. Another benefit is we can also schedule these test cases. For example, if you give a time and date in Quality Center for a test case,
it will execute automatically.
No, it won't execute actually. If you select a manual testing, you will get a mail alert or a telephone mobile alert saying so and so test case which is prepared by you has to be executed so and so date and time.
Okay. Notification.
That could be an email notification or mobile notification.
Okay.
But if you are writing a script,
like VB script or JavaScript.
Yeah, could be any script. So if you are writing a script, this is integrated to automation tools like QTP or Selenium also.
Okay.
So your script will be sent to the QTP and will execute there and will send the result automatically and will be updated here.
Okay, again system integration.
Yeah, here system integration is there. Very good. Okay. So that is one advantage of tool that we have. And last one, we have defects tab also. Here we can log the defect also. Apart from logging it in Excel like defect log, we can also do it here. But it is another kind of, it's a 1 or 2 days of training mostly. But when we take it as 1.5 hours, mostly go for 3 to 4 days, and it is very important. And it is very easy also.
Yeah, it looks like everything is being done, already developed. It's just you need to give the inputs and you get the outputs, if I'm not wrong.
Developed means the quality center administrator will create the respective fields which are
Yeah,
appropriate for your project.
yeah, that's what I'm
So,
saying.
as I told you, the column names which are predefined and pre-prepared as a customized one we have, correct?
Correct.
The column names in Excel. Similarly, the same column names will be provided and will be prepared by quality center administrator.
So if we want some more according to our requirement, will he
That
be
can be
adding?
modified. Yeah,
Okay.
that can be modified. That can be modified. No issues.
Okay.
Whenever we want, we can view it. So only the advantage of this quality center is it acts as a centralized shared repository, and it helps in whenever we want, we can view it, modify and delete it, and we can manage the activities in a pre-planned manner so that would not be kind of any confusion in playing the roles and responsibilities by the people. And it is like a smoother process.
So in nowadays, does every company use this quality center?
Because it is a benefit for the testing people. The reason is it's a one-shop tool. Because we are adding the requirements, adding the test cases, scheduling the test cases, and also logging the defects. So it is a more advantage for the testing people in a project. And it's a good question from you. Majority of projects they are using it. Yeah, they are using it. And however, it is a license. But we have different competitive tools also. For example, if you take defect management, if you take a defect reporting tools, apart from quality center, we have Bugzilla, D-Tracker, Bug Tracker, Zira. Like there are some competitive tools are there. But
Okay.
if you take only quality center, it is only not only for defect reporting. We have other facilities also, like adding requirements, managing the test
Correct.
cases, scheduling the test cases. So this is only one tool which is available. That's why it became famous.
Okay.
There is no other tool which has this kind of facilities.
Okay.
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 And defects, yeah, that's all about. And there are some more few things which are there in quality center that I can help you in understanding by using the tool itself.
Okay.
Okay. So this is all about, and still we left with load runner, and that I will soon share the content, the course of content, and load runner will be used for performance testing to check the response time. For example, from login to inbox, it should be load in 10 seconds. Okay. For one user, it is checking is fine. But how do we check for 100 users how much time it is taking and each response time by the user it is taking? It is difficult to check it in manual, right? So that is
Correct.
the reason for concurrent users, for each and individual user, how much response time it is taking will be checked and will be monitor the degrade and upgrade where it is getting slower and where it is getting faster. The speed will be monitored by using performance testing tool like load runner. And that schedule I'm still working on it. Definitely I will share you soon and we'll work on it.
Okay.